where these particular examples help us to study about the JSON, Parquet file and all. So uh, JSON loading and as well as the most frequently used construct guys, Parquet. This is the default and why it is become default and what is the advantage I will talk. And thereafter we'll talk about the Spark SQL. Again, with that, we are having some filter usage with the column and some kind of the COL. Okay, so these kind of the considerations and we'll see some case study guys. Actually, we'll take some data, okay, some challenge data, and that particular data helps us to study about the employee, where some kind of the addition of the columns, manipulation of the columns, all those kind of the conventions we'll discuss. Okay, now let me start the OneNote. Already have started. Yeah, cluster I have created before the session. One more notebook let me create. For DF operations 2. Okay, so now just we'll start with the uh, understanding of JSON usage guys. As usual, so after launching this particular thing, generally we'll see the whether cluster has been attached or not, just to give the Spark and then Spark context. Okay, so Spark context. Just it will give some sort of the information related to the Spark session and as well as the Spark context. Now I want to introduce you the JavaScript object notation, where which is very common in the big data scenarios, guys. Maybe in Hadoop distributed file system, or else in terms of your Spark. This usage of the JSON is pretty common. Just whatever the file I want to give, just that should be in the corresponding data. So if you consider where this resides, go to the DBFS, just to click on the file store, tables information. There are certain aspects related to the JSON are available. So example, okay, orders people one.json like that. I'm selecting this information, maybe which is having some sort of the data related to the people. So rather than typing friend, just to click on this corresponding file and you will be getting the appropriate path. Select that and copy and go to your original location. And here, so far we have seen the CSV and text file information. Now you can observe the same kind of the thing. What I'm doing here is DataFrame JSON Spark. So just I'm loading this particular Spark read dot. Earlier we have used the CSV. Now you can use the JSON. JSON. Just to click on this and here the DBFS colon and put the codes is as a string kind of thing. So is a path, no? So that we have to put that. Now once you give this information, so whatever the content I'm having, that content is read by this particular Spark, and it is returning a data frame with the age and as well as the name features. And as usual, now you can see the print schema, whatever the understanding. If you want to perform some internal aspects. Yesterday also we have seen how we are going to track and how to perform the activities related to the data frame. Okay, because to understand the data, just with the help of the data frame, we are having that describe method, count, distinct, all these kind of the aspects. So nothing much difference, friends. If you are referencing the CSV or text file, in what way we are loading the data, in the similar kind of the convention, we are getting the information with respect to JSON also. Okay, so this is the important thing. And mostly, guys, the write operations. Actually, if you consider the operation of the writing, just let me give you this convention df, whatever the object type, whatever the data frame I'm having, I can make use of the write operation. I should specify the path. Just I'm giving the same path, dbfs. Okay, so just you set the same path. Now here, if you refer this writing, this thing guys, along with this write operation, I should specify the type of the data I'm writing. So there is a specification, right? Okay. And what we are doing here is just we are mentioning the appropriate JSON. Actually, people1.json is there, but let me give a try. Okay, so what is the problem if I'm going ahead that? Okay, so what it is saying guys, just it is giving that your JSON object is already there, your file is already there. So in that particular case, just we are having the problem of loading the data. So in that case, we are having some sort of a writing operation where your writing is not allowing you to overwrite or to write on the existing thing. So just it is saying that clearly. So path dbfs file store. So if still you want to manage this particular convention, that means you want to ignore something or you want to overwrite, that possibility is there guys. Okay, so how do I do that is just let me pick up the appropriate file, df underscore JSON. Actually, this is the content we are having. So just we are having this content. We are pretty clear about that. Now, what we are doing here is, guys, there are certain operations actually. Let me show you that JSON dot write operation mode. Okay, so if you are going and verifying this particular documentation of the mode, important guys, because this is required. Maybe sometimes you want to override the content or you want to ignore if the file is already exist. And by default, if you are not giving anything, it leads to error or error if exists. Okay, all the things will verify. And if you are considering the whatever the file, maybe JSON, Parquet or whichever, the modes are common for everything. Append contents of the data frame to the existing data. Override the existing data. Error or error if exists. So throw an exception if data already exists. Just now we have seen, and ignore. Ignore in the sense though you are trying to write down the data into the destination. Okay, it silently ignore this operation if data already exists. So in this mode of the operation, so first we'll consider the overwrite operation. So just let me take that overwrite. Okay, and before override guys, we'll do one thing. So just let us see what happens if I give without I mean whatever the write operation I'm having. So just I'm taking this out before venturing all these modes of the operations. What I'm doing here is just let me rerun, and rather than giving the same name, just this time I'm giving the other name. Okay, to avoid the confusion, or because we observed that whatever the content I'm trying to load or write, what it does, it is not allowing us to write the content. So just we'll change the name of the file and we'll try to run. Then there is no objection. So obviously, if you are not giving the same file name, automatically Spark writes the JSON into the corresponding path. Now, as usual, because we explicitly mentioned the path information, DBFS, file store, tables, all these things, what you can do is go back just to click on the file store again, here tables, and you can see your JSON. Okay, so people1, somewhere you need to find out guys, people2.json. Now what you can do is just you pick this particular thing, go back. Okay, now again after getting this convention, okay, again we'll run reading operation. Okay, so just what I'll do is df JSON1 just spark dot read dot JSON to get the content for the confirmation, guys. Already manually we have verified, but sometimes our Databricks account may not allow you. Okay, because this is a community edition, we can do anything. This is personal cluster. But whereas if you are working with the heavy clusters with 7 node or 10 node or maybe any number of nodes, in that particular case, we may not have the access of the files directly. Okay, in that particular case, just to the way you run the things is just refer the reading operation, and then you can make use of this df json1 dot show. That's all. Okay, whatever the content you have written, automatically you can get that particular content without any problem. Okay, like this. So unless you are mentioning the same name, obviously you can, it is easy for us. If you consider the reading operation, guys, here only we have seen uh, the corresponding data frame dot write dot json along with the path. If you want to perform the reading operation from the DBFS, so just we need to give the spark.read.json. So directly with the extension, you can write the data or else you can read the data. Now, as we are talking about the modes of the operation, as said earlier, this particular mode specifies the behavior when data or table already exist. If the data is already exists, then only these particular things come into the picture. Now we understood that normally how I can store the data and how I can load the data, and without giving the existing content. So the content, if the file name is already exist, then we should not give the same file name. So that is one of the convention. Now let us venture one by one, guys. I try to apply this append, guys, because it is not going through. Remaining, overwrite, error, ignore. Okay, error if exists, all are running through. Just you also give a try once again, because multiple times I have tried. Maybe they are not allowing us due to the community edition or something. Because append is something, append content of this to existing data. However, we'll see that. Okay, first let us start with the overwriting of the content. So just what we'll do is overwrite. Okay, and JSON normal as usual. And here your path, whatever the path I'm having existing path, because it should not return any error, guys. That is the understanding. So because I want to overwrite the content. Already, if you consider people2.json is there in our folder in our DBFS file system. Now what we are doing, I want to overwrite this particular people2.json. Okay, so just if you are considering the overwrite operation, as the name implies, obviously whatever the content exists, no matter, again I want to overwrite, maybe due to the update in the corresponding source or whichever. Okay, reasons might be different, but however, there is a chance of overwriting that existing content. Okay, simply just to run through. Now this time it has not raised any error, guys, because in the earlier case, if I give the same file name, it is returning some error. But with the option of the overwrite, whatever the content available, I can able to overwrite that particular content. Coming to the next aspect, the other way, next is the error. So if file already exists, I need to get the error. If you are not giving also, it is behaving like that only. But let us see how do we see that particular error, because multiple things are there. Error if exists, all these things. Now what I'm doing here is rather than overwrite, just I'm giving error. Okay, if I'm trying to write down, obviously it gives that JSON file already exists. Or else if I want to perform the other way around, so because there are certain deprecations, guys, so that it is better to have all the possible things. Error if it exists. So just you can see that the same. Okay, if you are not giving also, friends, we observed in the earlier thing, if you are not giving anything also, you are trying to give, but just to have a look on this error, how it is generating. Is there any specific difference between error if exists compared with without giving anything? Okay, just as a task you observe that, guys, because we need to observe these things only. Whether any abrupt termination is there any problem for the corresponding server if I am giving like this? So just to observe that with the help of your whatever the documentation provided in the error. And suppose that if this particular thing and these two options are same, then you can avoid the usage of this error. But as a general consideration, friends, it is always better to follow up the modes of the operation rather than considering the rather than leaving to the machine. See, a programmer is someone who really handles the corresponding things with the code. Okay, whatever the possibilities, just by seeing that particular code, one can easily recognize that. See, but here, until execution of the code, a developer is not having any idea about what happens if the particular file is there. But whereas here clearly he can anticipate. See, the good programmer anticipates all the errors, guys. He maintains the exceptions because just like that, he won't satisfy. Okay, the programmer mindset, so just is always strive for the best practice usage and as well as implementing the appropriate things in a better way and readable way. Better way in the sense it's not always complex, guys. Okay, if you see the programmers, they always look for the simple coding, successful programmers. So in that particular case, guys, just if you are making use of the convention, how do I write the code? And this is by nature you need to learn. Okay, though we are having the best practices and all these kind of the considerations, but still, as a programmer, as a developer, it is your contribution to the development in such a way that just you see that whenever there is a possibility, just you write down your code in a more readable and more understandable format. Okay, so that obviously the entire member, if you see GitHub accounts and all other kind of the things, they come up with some simple analogy. They directly don't go with complex and all. People generally thinks that if I'm doing complex things or if I'm explaining complex program, then I can easily get into the good books of audience. No, no, no. Okay, never, friend, because maybe out of the 100 members in a seminar, only 90 members don't have any idea. Only 10 or 12 members may be having idea. And of course, those are the members who generally ask the queries and who generally try to involve. But our intention is all 100 guys, not only those 10 members. Okay, so all the members should be on the same frequency. So obviously, whatever the code you are writing, that code should be understandable and readable. It should be simple, guys, in a simple liner. Okay, like so, and there is any possibility. If there is any possibility, suppose I'm having the file name, but I never mind if my file is there. Uh, Still, I am trying to write something, or if I'm giving the same file name also, it should not return any value. At the same time, it should not override also. So for that particular purpose, guys, we're having this possibility. So rather than using error if exist or something, just I can make use of um, ignore. Actually, one more option is there, ignore. So now you see here. So it is not going to give any error. At the same time, it is not going to override also, guys. So just it is okay. People2.json is available so that it is simply ignoring. It's not doing anything. Like you would have observed no operation earlier with column something we have used where if it is not found the corresponding condition, it simply returns the empty data frame. Okay, it's not going to return any error or that thing. So the no operations are something which are not giving error, and at the same time they won't do any ambiguous activity also, guys. Okay, they are not going to disturb anything and all. So those kind of operations are really helps us so as to pick up the convention. And append also, let me give you a try. because we're having people2.json and people1.json also there. Let me do like this. Df already we're having, and I am appending uh, whatever the df JSON I'm having. Just I'm appending to the people2.json. Or else let me change this people1.json. So what I mean to say is your df JSON is having the people2.json, and to the people1.json I want to append, okay, the new file, but it has not going through. I don't know. So let me see. Yeah, done guys. Right. Mm, okay. So now if you see the people1.json, if I want to pick up, maybe it is adding all these conventions. Like how can I say df JSON 3. So just I can manage spark dot read dot JSON. Uh, so as usual, just I can get all the contents people1 and as well as the people2 data, because we have appended that. Now we are reading that particular content. Path must be absolute. See guys, something happened. Can someone help me? What is the problem here? Spark dot read dot JSON.
A colon after DVFS.
Oh, okay, okay, right. Thank you. So, but how it is taken, guys? I'm surprised. It should not take, na? Okay, let us see whether. Hmm, done. Okay, so df JSON 3. Sure. Nothing happened, guys. Simply for the sake of us, it is going through. But I am insisting you guys just to have a look on this, because I have verified this. People1.json cannot insert into, yeah, because maybe the problem is like this, guys. I should maintain the same print schema, na? Probably that could be the reason. Otherwise, it is taking actually. Only the thing is your whatever the data frame you are taking, or else let me give you this. This is people too, na? This also will take the same thing. Maybe multiple times I want to write same schema, na? Both people too. Now let us access this particular people too. Now if I'm running through, it should go through, guys. Multiple records should come. Then it is nothing. Yeah, appended. Yeah, done. So that means either I can use if I'm using other, definitely the print schema must be same. Schema must be same, na? Then only. Otherwise, guys, simple text file if I'm having, the append is possible. A typical Python, if you are taking maybe log file content, or if you want to maintain that particular streaming kind of the data, generally the append is a procedure where you can perform. In a similar way, here we have taken some sort of the examples where I want to write or I want to append some kind of the data into my source file. Okay, so you can observe the people1 and people2 exist in the cluster as usual. That is normal kind of the convention. Now, the generic consideration, guys. Okay, maybe JSON, CSV, text, and all most commonly used kind of the conventions. But if you are talking about the Parquet file, your Parquet file is something like which is really helping us to maintain the convention of how do I handle the situation, like if I want to compress something and if I want to maintain some sort of the information, all these things. Let me give you some understanding of this particular Parquet, as I have compiled something for us to understand. Just this particular Parquet is a default or which is providing us some kind of the constructs where you can enjoy the benefits in this format. So just let me give you the convention of Parquet. Yeah, have a look on this, guys. So Apache Parquet file is a columnar storage format available to any project in the Hadoop ecosystem. Hadoop ecosystem already we have seen, guys. Like that Hadoop ecosystem is something like which is providing various aspects like storing of the data, map reducing the data, and ETL process with the Hive. And if you want to work with exclusively the relational model, then you can go with the Scoop. And if you want to perform some sort of um, unstructured data, then you can go with the Flume. Like that, the ecosystem is there. So the Parquet file system is not only available for a particular tool, guys. Entire Hadoop ecosystem is a bigger thing actually. So the entire Hadoop ecosystem supports the Parquet file. That is the one thing. Regardless of the choice of data processing framework, data model, or programming language. This is the main advantage, guys. Okay, there is no restriction on the corresponding system. Okay, so without any deviation, without any restriction, any kind of the processing framework, that might be the Hadoop framework or Spark framework or Kafka, whichever, and the data model. Okay, maybe the relational model or unstructured or semi-structured, whichever programming language, that might be either Scala, Java, or Python. Okay, whichever. So now the advantage here is while querying columnar storage, it skips the non-relevant data very quickly, making faster query execution. See here, guys, the advantage here is if you consider the machine learning, there we have seen some sort of the algorithms, so decision trees, random forest, etc. And that random forest is having the flexibility of working with the original paths. Suppose in a tree notion, if some of the paths are not valid, or if some of the paths are not giving the fruitful results, then it prunes the data. Tree pruning means obviously it is not traversing to that side. So similarly here also, while working with the Parquet, so just it is having the property of skipping the non-relevant data very quickly, friends. Non-relevant data very quickly, so that it is picking up the required parts and the appropriate information, though it is exist in the Parquet, but still it is not considering those kind of the data items which are absolutely not required for the current context. So as a result, aggregate queries consumes less time compared to row-oriented databases. So that is the reason why people prefer the usage of the Parquet. And then it is able to support advanced nested data structures. We have seen some of the data structures, guys, actually struct field, struct type, int type, string type, yesterday's class. So especially in terms of the schema building, maybe there is a possibility of nesting of the structures. Okay, for that particular case also, maybe in the advancements, the Parquet is definitely helpful. And Parquet supports efficient compression options and encoding techniques. This is the major distinction, guys, compared with the other models, maybe JSON, CSV, text, or whichever. The specific feature related to this particular Parquet is its efficient compression option. uh, Compression is something like which is your zip file or rar file kind of thing, friends. If memory is limited and you don't want to miss out the memory, so then you can make use of that Parquet, and it supports the compression. Encoding, guys, here encoding is a phenomena where even though you are transmitting your data throughout the cluster, you need not worry about that, because there are some ciphertext kind of thing where the information is converted into the other format. So in a way, if any other user, okay, any unauthorized user views your data also, no problem, because it is in a encoded or ciphertext format. Okay, that particular encoding and compression are two basic advantages of the Parquet system. Okay, and of course SQL we are using. However, Pyspark SQL provides support for both reading and writing Parquet files that automatically capture the schema of the original data. So this is also one of the convention, guys, where you can observe. Uh, uh, Generally, the problem comes here. Like maybe if you are working with the CSV, if the schema is not there, maybe some members would have observed this problem. C0, C1, C2. like that column names are suffixed by that C1, C2, C3, something like that, guys. So the point here is, friends, if you are not able to capture the schema, then there is a possibility of creating the struct field or struct type like that. But whereas sometimes we don't know what is the schema and all the things, is only just we are getting the data in the read format, and from that either you need to apply some optimizations, or else we have to create the RDDs and data frame, something like that. So in that case, preferably you can use the Parquet files. So if you are not sure whether your schema is disturbing, and you have done a lot more, and you set schema equal to some automatic schema from the appropriate data, but still the problem persists, guys. Okay, earlier while using this communication only, I got the same kind of the problem. So then after that, with the explicit schema setting, we can handle that. Otherwise, you can go ahead with the Parquet. So that is the convention you can see, and it is supporting. And in fact, I will show you how to create that particular Parquet with our own data, and how we are going to read and write that Parquet file, right? Okay. And it also reduces data storage by 75% as an average. This is a biggest deal, guys, actually bigger deal, because uh, if I'm asking the question also, how come it is doing with the help of the compression, guys? So because the appropriate columnar data structure is having the flexibility of maintaining this particular convention, where it is automatically reducing the data storage. That is the flexibility of the data structure or type of the file, friends. So even we are while recruiting, we generally consider the people who are having with a good attitude, maybe skill set or programming knowledge is little less, but his attitude and taking the challenges is good. Then we generally prefer them. Similarly, is a byproduct. Actually, skill set and knowledge are byproducts of the attitude. Na. So if you are sitting and if you are keep on performing the activities, obviously you will be getting the benefits. So similarly, if you are considering the Parquet, it is generally until you are explicitly mentioning that Parquet, the characteristics are same. How we are writing the data, how we are reading the data, there is no differentiation. But if you are understanding, if you try to make use of that Parquet, then definitely you feel that okay, because of this property, because of the whatever the things we are planning, like in the compression, encoding, and obviously it is avoiding the unnecessary records, whatever unnecessary data items which are not required. So all these kind of the conventions make use of these with the help of these kind of the properties. Parquet can able to perform or betterment. Okay, on an average 75% of the on an average. So PySpark by default support Parquet in its library. Okay, so by default, PySpark is supporting, hence we do not need to add any dependency libraries. Now I am giving one task here, guys. Like this task is Evro files and ORC. Okay, study about these file systems. So just have a look on this, guys. Just Evro and as well as the ORC. But now we are not using, but in some cases, maybe the companies, because how Apache is promoting Parquet, na, like that some companies may be having their own setup or own support. So in that particular case, if you are aware of these kind of the conventions, definitely it creates some kind of the benefit. Now we are having a reasonable understanding of our Parquet file, guys. Now what we'll do is let us try to work with the Parquet source. Okay, so just I am getting this Parquet understanding. Okay. Now for this purpose, guys, I already compiled some kind of the data and as well as the column information. Let me pick that particular data, guys, which is a typical data, which is related to some kind of the employee. Just I'm pasting here. So data. So just we are taking the format just to have a look on this. So James Smith and as well as some number, male or female, maybe incentive or something, guys. I'm not whether it is salary or not. No, It should not be salary. So 3,000, $4,000 are not a salary. No? Maybe it is incentive or something. So just we are running the cell. And thereafter what we are doing is just we are making use of the column information. That particular column is nothing but a schema, friends, actually. So in terms of CSV and JSON, we have seen that as a kind of schema, but here we are talking about the columns. And with the help of this particular column information, so now we are having the two constructs in our hand. One is the data. Okay, that particular data. Okay, another is the columns information. So these columns generally gives us first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, gender, salary. Maybe few columns we have not mentioned in the data. So obviously it becomes null. Generally, if you are not giving any corresponding value, it leads to the null. Now we are creating a data frame with Parquet. Now what we are doing here is a typical data frame only, guys. Let me create a data frame. If you remember, guys, long back we have seen the data frame creation with the source data and as well as the schema information. So similarly, what we are doing here is just I am picking up my data and as well as the columns information, where with the help of this particular data and columns, we are able to create the data frame, and which is of course the tabular structure, which is giving us some sort of the information. Okay, now let us try to view the data. Okay, so show, just if you are considering first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, gender and salary, nicely and neatly formatted way. That is the advantage of the data frame. But see here, if you observe the source data and as well as the columns information, you are not sure how these things are going to reflect. Okay, now at the moment you tagged these two things as a part of this creation of the data frame, it has given a nice representation. Okay, now, so the topic here is just how do I handle the Parquet. Assume that any file, any kind of the source can be used as a Parquet, guys. There is no specific, though it is a columnar, but still you can handle that particular convention with respect to this thing. Actually, we are having DF our data and we are writing the data, guys, writing, and there is a possibility of writing your data into the Parquet format. Uh, Now same DBFS, just I am making use of file store, my tables data, and I am taking this one dot Parquet file. Okay, so this particular file, I'm not sure whether this one dot Parquet is there in our local cluster, but let me give it a try. So if it is there, then it returns an error. Already file exists kind of thing. But this procedure, what it does is whatever the data frame you are having, and you may ask this question. So why can't we take the source as the Parquet directly? Uh, One thing, guys, generally we are not particular about whether that is a JSON or text or Parquet or whichever. Our only interest is if I could able to convert my data frame into the Parquet format, I can enjoy the benefits of the 75% of the memory benefits. Compression I will be getting. Encoding techniques automatically are there with the Parquet. I need not attach any libraries or something. So no matter, guys, whether your data frame is a text or say JSON or whichever, you are free to use this particular information into the Parquet format. Okay, there are certain benefits, no? There are specific benefits with the Parquet, like where these encoding techniques, compressions, all these things come into the picture. So what we are doing here is whatever the data I'm having with the data frame, just I want to place the data into my Parquet file. Okay, so one dot Parquet, just it is without any hassle, it is running through. It is taking little time, guys. Okay, so just you can see here, and maybe you can compare writing the JSON or Parquet took the same time, or is there any differentiation? Maybe because this Parquet is having some infra like encoding and compression. Maybe for the writing, it may take more time, I guess, compared with the JSON or CSV. But in all the other operations, once you once you write that particular data into the parquet dot parquet, and from that whatever the operations you are performing, it definitely gives the benefit of access in the fastest manner. Now just let us see one dot parquet how it is placed. Click on this, just the file store, and within that I'm having the tables information. Just to have a look on this dot parquet extensions, guys. Maybe we are having some other formats also. Yeah, parquet one dot parquet, but we have created one dot parquet now. So yes, that is there. One dot parquet, but you can see it is though it is simple file, it is stored as a partitions kind of thing. And partitions are decided by the that Hadoop block size. No? That block size is there based on that kind of the convention. Now let me access the content. So just I am picking up the data, and a similar thing. What I am doing here is df parquet file one. As usual, guys, the main advantage is writing and reading process is common for every kind of the data. So just I can read the parquet file, and here, so just we are making use of that convention dbfs colon. Okay, so like this. Okay, so the schema and all remain same, guys. Maybe we may not understand or we may not observe this thing with this simple data, but whenever you are working with the huge amounts of the data, definitely you can see the difference between Parquet access and as well as the JSON access. So this is the way how you can manage the convention of understanding the data, how we are performing the activities with the CSV and as well as the Parquet. Uh, Now what I'm doing here is, guys, okay, still data frames, lot more to discuss. Actually, if I'm taking the filter itself, we can take one session. But what I'm doing here is just I'm giving a glance of all the properties so that from tomorrow or day after tomorrow, what you can do is we can again revisit the same thing with some sort of the case studies. Maybe I can take some example. I can use the group by and aggregate, or else I can use the some sort of the filter, some sort of the select, or like that. So already we are having some basics or fundamental aspects of those things. On top of that, we can run through up to the case study. So as a part of that particular thing, let us start with the Spark SQL. Okay, so your Spark SQL is most commonly used because many SQL developers. Okay, so if you consider start from the beginning of the discussion, some or other way we are using the context actually. Maybe like friends, Spark SQL, Spark.sql.functions, Spark.sql.types, like that we are using many ways, many kind of the references we have used in terms of the Spark SQL. So Spark obviously giving importance for the SQL constructs. Okay, now you can easily observe that like whatever the format, whatever the possibility we are using. So the same kind of the things can be achieved with the Spark SQL also. What I mean to say is so far we have used the data frame and data frame creations multiple ways and data frame source data. Okay, with the CSV or JSON or whichever. Now the concept here is altogether the data frame we are converting into the SQL format. Okay, that is the base point. And on top of that particular SQL, we are performing some kind of the activities. So that is the procedure, guys. So for that particular thing, in the yesterday's session, we have used this schema, guys. Actually, if you remember, um, we have created some schema. So let me go through that because that is required. Yeah, this one. Structure type, all these kind of the things. Let me use the same schema here as we are having that original.csv in our file system. Let me run this schema because I need some data frame actually, so that I am running this schema. Uh, Okay, I have to import now. So okay. So just we need to have the import options. Already we have imported somewhere. Either you can import the star. Okay, two ways are there now, guys. Two ways. Let me show you that thing also. Either you can do like this or else just you can do like this also from Pyspark SQL dot types import. Okay, string type or struct field, whatever struct type and all these three things are required actually. String type, struct field, struct type. And apart from that, you can have the integer type and as well as the float type. So likewise, because if you are not knowing about how many things we are going to import, just you can use the star. Otherwise, if you are explicitly knowing that, no need of doing that. Okay, so just this kind of import also have a look on this, guys. Let me show you that. Otherwise, no problem. It is your wish whether you go with the star or struct type. Struct field first will take, and then we'll take the struct type and then string type. Just you can use integer type, float type. Okay, because these are all the things we are using in our schema. Okay, now after running this particular thing only, your Spark recognizes the struct type, struct field, all these kind of the conventions. Now you see, obviously without any objection. Now, basically, friend, the schema is also a list. Okay, if you consider this particular schema, this is also a list kind of the thing, which is having all the details, all the constructs according to your specification, all the names and all you can give. Now what we are doing here is, guys, just we are creating a data frame. That particular data frame is loading the data. So now we have loaded the data. Na? So just we'll take the same data frame. Okay, schema we are having, and I want to load the original.csv. Okay, so just I am running through. Okay, I'm getting this particular convention of running the data. Now my df3 is containing. So for the sake of understanding, just you see here, your df3 is containing this data. So employee data, which we have worked earlier, ID, first name, last name, gender, city, job title, salary, latitude, longitude, some sort of the data. In the earlier example, we have done the data pre-processing, guys, like handling of the null values, duplicate values, and then our cleaning of the salary, all these things. And today we are going to perform some more activities. Okay, so maybe annual salary finding out or monthly salary and salary related to the female people and male, and maybe CEO want to give some kind of the incentives to female. Okay, some sort of those kind of the conventions we'll try. Okay, now we are ready with our data frame, and we are having the data frame 3 dot columns like this. These are all the columns. Now, what is the first statement? Okay, we are pretty sure that the data frame is available and that data frame should be converted into the SQL. Okay, that is in the tabular format and all. Now there is a clause, friends, here, df3 dot. There are multiple options. Just to select this option, guys, create or replace temp view. Okay, create or replace temp view, and there are other options like cross tabs, cross join, create temp view, create or replace temp view. Replace is a process where it is a generally used construct, guys, maybe in terms of Hive or MySQL. Okay, because sometimes the tables already there, but if I want to make use a general convention, guys, people, the developers are having some sort of the mindset. They generally give the names which are very common. By seeing the naming convention also, sometimes you can say, oh, this thing designed by Akhil, this may be designed by Misra, like that. Because the way they give the variable names tell them, okay, how these particular people are thinking and what way. Okay, some people generally give ABC kind of thing, which is definitely not a good programming practice, guys. The meaningful names according to the project or according to the program or problem. So which gives that the understanding. Okay, observe here, guys, the code you are not writing for yourself. The code may be useful. It should be useful for the entire team. Once you write the code and release the corresponding code, generally to understand the logic, people may come to you. But to understand the variable name, why we have declared this thing, okay, the you should take care about those kind of the conventions. Logic and all maybe definitely the perspective may be different. Okay, some people may use some kind of the additional variables. Some people may use with a limited number of variables. They want to perform some kind of the logics or implement some kind of the logics. So logically, people may differ, guys. Definitely at the end of the day, again, which logic we need to select is based on the corresponding, whatever the data we are having. Based on that, how much time it is taking, how much space is required. So based on the optimizations, one code will be decided. Okay, obviously less variables, less iterations, all these kind of the implementations can be selected. Now, in this case, guys, create or replace temp view, just directly you can take. And I'm giving that name as table. Now from data frame, just now we are creating the one view kind of thing actually. Just we are running that. And now what I'm doing here is if I'm printing this particular table, okay, just it gives that bound method SQL context table of Pyspark SQL context dot SQL context. It is behaving like one object, guys, because in every object oriented programming, okay, as if you consider Python in Python, everything is an object. Okay, so preference would be given to that object orientation. Accordingly, we are going to perform some kind of the activity. Now, once this process is over, guys, so just we are ready with our object. Now this object is something like which is having the properties of the views. Okay, now let us see how I am making use of this thing. There is a class called spark.sql, guys. Actually, directly I can use, see here, you can give the SQL query spark.sql. What I am doing here is select a typical SQL, guys. Okay, select star from table, that's all. But this I want to store in a query one. Okay, like that. Now you see, so just I am making use of spark.sql instead of the data frame. Directly we are mentioning this view, that is a table name, select star from table, which again going to store in the q1. Okay, so just you run through. What happened, guys? Can you help me?
From spelling.
From
For
Oh,
query, we
sorry,
need to
sorry.
end.
Uh, from any other, what is that query we have ended? Quote we have ended. And moreover, yeah, now using
table name.
table name we have given, na dear.
Yes.
Table itself is the table name. That's what for initially we are making use of that. Now you see, guys, this q1 behaving like a data frame. See, whatever the spark.sql. Now, okay, let me show you this convention type of q1 if I am asking. It is a data frame, guys. It is a data frame. Though you are creating a view on top of the data frame, this particular table we got, this is definitely the SQL context. But again, if you are talking about the spark.sql and if you are running a query, and finally the resultant will be your data frame only again. So that see the importance of the data frame and how the activities of the Spark SQL are integrated with the data frame, friends. Because without the integration or interaction between the data frame and as well as these kind of the Spark SQL, we cannot perform the logics altogether. If there is no sync between data frame and Spark SQL, and we are expecting to achieve the same kind of the functionality, no. Okay, internally data frame and Spark SQL are having the tight integration. Then only they can uh, we can expect the appropriate support globally. Simple thing, guys. You are in a team, and the members are keep on empowering you. That means without any meets, without any reviews. Okay, just they are keep on giving the feedback. Hey guys, just you need to do, you should join calls on time. Okay, so just be careful. Okay, like that they are guiding us. So definitely in the review calls and all, if they guide also no problem because they are guiding us continuously. But see here, you should be cautious with the members who don't guide in the situations, but in the meeting, some people will suddenly raise the voice and they can guide us because of bringing the attention. And don't worry about that, those kind of guys. Why I am pulling this point is internally this data frame and Spark SQL are having the terms and conditions in a better way. Like there is a communication. If that communication is not there, then there is no possibility of achieving the same performance in both the cases, in either cases. Maybe if I'm using the data frame, same performance without any problem. And if I'm using the Spark SQL, no problem. Again, the same kind of the performance I am getting. So internally, they are having the architectural understanding, support of the architecture. Now itself, we have seen directly your return type is data frame itself actually. Okay, Pyspark.sql.dataframe.dataframe. And but still you see guys, and there is no surprise for us as always this SQL on top of the SQL, there is a construct actually data frame, and then there is a kind of support for the data frame. So here your SQL is of course supporting all the way to all these kind of the conventions. Now, one more thing. Now, what we'll do is, guys, just we are trying to achieve some sort of the functionalities where I can perform like how I have done in case of the data frame. Now I want to perform the same thing with the this kind of the convention also. Okay, so directly you can make use of these approaches, queries and all. But now the outcome is available in Q1, guys. Now there is no surprise for you. If I am using Q1.show also, just it is giving the kind of the tabular representation. Is hardly a data frame again, because here itself we have proved type of Q1. Okay, though we are using the Spark SQL, but finally your outcome is giving as a kind of the data frame, given as a kind of the data frame. Now let us work with some sort of the calculated columns, friends. And for that purpose, okay, just observe here, guys, from just I need some sort of the functionalities, Pyspark dot SQL, and I'm having certain functions here, and we are importing all. Okay, all the functionalities because I'm very new, so that I thought of maybe let me scope all the functions. And once I get into these kind of the habituation using of these kind of the conventions, I can specify okay whichever the functions required. Now for this purpose, friends, actually up to df3 we have seen. Yeah. Now let me create df4, one more new data frame. Um, and I am doing this convention, guys, existing some with column. With column already we have seen, guys. Like now also we are seeing there is a salary column actually. So what I want to do is I want to apply some sort of convention where this particular salary is in the string actually. If you observe, your salary is in the string actually, but it should be in the float value. Now what we're trying to do is here we are observing. I want to pick up this particular data. I want to eliminate the first character should not be there because that is a dollar. We are representing the dollar. We don't want to fix that because if I want to convert the salary into the floating, it should not be there. If it is there, then it becomes a string because all the characters and numbers can be observed in the string format. So what we are doing here is we are making use of this particular salary column to pick up the information from the second character onwards, and I want to convert this particular string into the float. That is my requirement. Here there is no renaming, nothing, guys, but with column is there. Okay, with column again we'll see the documentation. Returns a new class or data frame by adding a column or replacing the existing column that has the same name. the column expression must be an expression over this attempting to add a column from some other and will raise an error. And the problem is like this, guys. Suppose df3 I'm using, definitely I need to pick up the data from df3 only, not from df2 or something. That pretty convincing thing only. There is no surprise for us. Whatever the data frame we are taking, you need to stick to that particular data frame. Okay. Now what I'm doing here is I want to create a clean cell. Okay, that is a new column I want to add. Now from the same df3, what is the property I want to get? Salary. On top of this particular feature only, I want to perform some activity. df3 salary. And then we are using some sort of substr substring function. My requirement is, guys, here from the second character onwards, I want to access. Okay, simply give the second character. And no, just you leave that 50 or 100, whichever the number, because sometimes, guys, some values we cannot say 2 or 3 or up to what extent. So just give that 100. Don't worry about that. And then one more thing left over, guys. Actually, our interest is okay. We are fixing this dollar, and then we are not happy with the string type of the data. Maybe if I want to get the monthly salary, or if I want to apply some kind of the average or computing on top of the salary, again there is a problem. If that is a string, I cannot perform the mathematical or aggregate or these kind of the functionalities. So for that particular purpose, there is a function called cast function, friends. Just you can change that into the floating value. Okay, now you see with the simple with column. First thing is what we have done is we have picked up that salary and we applied the substr function. Just it is picking out the data from the second character, and it is fixing all the numbers, and it is converting the data into the floating point type. Now you run through, and then you can see here, guys, df4 dot show. If you are seeing, then there should be a clean cell column in addition to the data frame, and that should be the float type. Just you observe. I'm giving you this convention, guys. Your clean cell, original salary is also there. We are not disturbing that original data, but rather for the sake of the computings, just we are converting, or we are making use of the salary into the clean salary. That is the first point. Second important thing is just we are converting. Okay, so after elimination of this particular dollar, we are converting the data into the floating value. That is the second point we have done. Okay, now if you see df4 dot just to print schema, now you can observe, guys, here. So your clean cell is a float value and your cell is a string type of the data. So because this is the schema where we are getting that original dot csv, and here through the with column option, we have specified that clean cell. Okay, like that you can perform the activity related to the print schema and all those kind of the conventions. Okay. Uh, if Avro as well, we would have the same conventions, right? No, Avro ORC, maybe one of the file system require the pre-processing, guys, actually. Um, I'm not sure whether that is Avro or ORC, but one thing is definitely require the heavy pre-processing. Unlike in case of the CSV, text, JSON, Parquet, um, your Avro file system might have the support of external libraries. That's what I given the task just to have a look on this, and maybe someone can take up that thing, guys, because however I need to assign the tasks. Na? Whoever interested, maybe Surender can take up that. Okay, right. So because definitely one thing is heavily dependent on the libraries, which is not a default thing, like as that of the JSON, Parquet, CSV, text. There is a separate genre for that. And first we need to convert the data with so many pre-processing techniques, because still some companies are comfortable with their complex journeys, guys, because they have to promote their work. Na? So because they are having some clients, client won't interfere in the programming. and he won't tell anything. Only he's seeing about the cost matter. And definitely it is the responsibility of the developer to cope up with these requirements. So still some companies are promoting that ORC and Evro formats, um, but at the cost of programming skill, guys, rather than the space and time factors. But unless Parquet is the best one compared with any other kind of the data type, because it is having the de facto standards. By default, it is having the specification of those kind of conventions. So it is pretty simple to understand Parquet style. Okay, now just we have seen some sort of the implementation. There we have added some calculated column, and that calculated column is nothing but whatever the data I'm having. Based on that particular data, I can able to pre-process that. Generally, you see these kind of the conventions, guys. Like maybe the data is coming in the string and you need to eliminate some of the characters like dollars and all these things. So you can use the sub-str kind of thing, right? Okay. And we'll do some more calculation. Maybe I want to pick up the monthly budget. Okay, maybe this is the CTC kind of thing for all these members, first name, last name, something like that. Now the requirement is maybe I need to scope the monthly budget in the from the finance department. So for that particular purpose, one more data frame we are taking, and just we are making use of same with column. As I said, now guys, is a more handy actually. Now we are creating a new column which is a monthly sal, something like that. And here from the same data frame I should get the um, now I'm not going to use the sal difference. Now I can use the clean sal. Actually this is also one of the column now within the data frame 4. So just let me give that cell. Okay, clean cell. Now I can perform some sort of the activity. Maybe if I want to get the monthly by 12, I have to give. So obviously what it does, just it is giving some value df dot show. Um, if you are making use of this convention, there is one more column will be added, guys, monthly sal, and your whatever the salary I'm having, clean sal from this by 12. So this much this guy is getting. Like that. Okay, like that, all these kind of the conventions for all the salary values, we are getting the monthly sal bill. Okay, so on top of this you can perform any kind of the aggregation and all. There is one more functionality, guys, like mm, I want to check that suppose there is a gender kind of the thing. Maybe HR people want to send the messages to the female candidates only, maybe on the Women's Day or any specific benefit is there maybe for them. So for particularly female candidates, they need to pick up okay, out of the tables, at least they should give yes for the male and no for the yes for the female and no for the female, so as to separate them. And then they need to share the mails to the corresponding female candidates. This is the requirement, guys. This is the requirements, and we are having our DF4 actually. So latest we are having the DF5, and these are all the columns information. Now based on this particular DF5, okay, just I am also pasting this data with you guys. Okay, now what you can do is just you need to observe the gender column. Okay, you have to observe the gender column, and that particular gender column we are making use for the convention of okay, setting up whether the appropriate employee is male or female, and we are having the gender column here. Suppose if I'm getting female in the gender, I should add yes here. If I'm getting male here, okay, in the record, I should give the no. Okay, so these are all the general requirement, guys. If you remember in the earlier session also, along with the with column, we have used when and as well as the otherwise, those kind of the conventions. Now let us start with this thing, guys. We are creating one more data frame. Just this time, just we are using the with column information. Now our requirement is whether they are female or not, or female. Just this is a new column I want to add. Um, Here the conditions are there, friends. If the gender is female, then the record should return yes. Otherwise, if the gender is male, it should return the false value. Now what we are doing is just we are picking up this thing. When clause is there, when the same data frame df5. What we need to check, guys, here we have to check the gender value. So just pick that particular gender, df5 dot gender. Okay, and simple thing, guys, here how they are giving value female. Okay, just let us copy that, because if we are giving small f and all, definitely it won't return the s value. Just we are taking the female. This is one condition. Uh, if it is female means what should I return, guys? Okay, yes value. So just I am returning yes. Observe here, when the appropriate data frame gender equal to female, then I have to substitute this with the yes value. Substitute with the yes value. Otherwise, this is the else part actually. If you click on this otherwise, just I am giving no, that's all. We are giving the no. Okay, so if you consider this with column, first it has created a new entry, or female, whether the appropriate employees are female. Okay, now R female, within the R female column, I am writing a small code. What this particular code does is, when df5, whatever the data frame I am having, so df5 dot gender is female. Okay, that value is female. Then just where within this particular R female, we are posting this yes value. Otherwise, what we are doing is R female will be pasted by no. Okay, just to run through, guys. And now, just if you consider the df6 dot show, okay, so you can make use of this convention, right? Okay, like this, see R female, yes, yes, yes. All the first three members are female. No, no, these two members are male, and SS again. Like that, we're having the convention. So in this way, any type of the logic, guys. So whatever the functionalities, whatever the way we are making use, based on the requirement, because the with column is such a great construct. Okay, with column is such a great construct where you can make use of the conventions of understanding the data and handling the appropriate logic. But whereas along with the with column, you can use the when or otherwise, like how we are using if statement and else statement. Even we are not using the lambda functions also with the simple construct. That is what your PySpark is highly customized. Okay, without any background of the programming. Okay, you can make use of your customization understanding of the PySpark and Spark SQL. It is easy for you to implement the coding. But over the period, definitely you are going to get some command over, guys. Okay, so this is how you can specify. And some other aspects, friends. Actually, if I'm talking about the Spark SQL, if you are making use of some sort of any other than the Spark SQL, even on top of the data frame also, if I want to perform some kind of the activity, then there is a clause called group and aggregation. Okay, this is something like, if I want to find out the average or maximum or minimum, these kind of the computings are pretty common in every kind of the implementation. So for that particular purpose, guys, just you can make use of the convention um, of applying the group and aggregation. Let us give a try of understanding the group and aggregation. Uh, for this particular purpose, guys, what we are doing is just I am importing a functionality like this. import Pyspark. Okay, so as usual, SQL, we're having the functions. Now, one more point here, guys. So just I am taking the reference value, SQL function, because I am not sure which function I am going to use. If I'm using star also, explicitly I have to mention. Otherwise, if I am making use of the module pointing to SQL function, and if I am referencing this SQL function, I can get all the functionality support. Okay, this is one of the methodology where a typical Python programmer can perform logically so as to with a simple variable, with a single variable or single object, one can achieve the functionality as per the requirement. Now the same thing again, we are going back to our original data frame, uh, whatever. So because so far we have seen D4, D5 and D6 with respect to which column, and as per the requirements we have implemented some kind of the code. But now what we are doing here is, guys, just we are making use of the same first name, last name, gender, city, job title, salary, latitude and longitude. Now we are going to write some kind of the queries on top of the group by. So just we are referencing this group option. What I'm trying to do is just I'm making use of actually uh, one more thing, guys. DF4 is also required because we are having the clean salary now. DF4 dot columns. Maybe this also we can use DF4 dot columns. Uh, Now with respect to the DF4, there is a salary column which is fine tuned actually converted into the floating value, and we have removed that particular dollar. Like that we are having that kind of the convention. Now what we are doing here is, friends, just we are applying on top of this DF4 only. Okay, because we are having the processed salary, and there is a clause if you consider group by. So just to select this, and let us see what exactly, sorry, let us see what exactly the documentation related to the somewhere we have gone, guys. What happened? Okay, like so df4 dot group by, just we need to give the column or name of the column, which is the group data, and groups the data frame using the specified columns. So we can run aggregation on them. Suppose if there is a grouping on male or female, if there is a grouping on state information, if there is a grouping on area of the project, maybe data engineering, data science, something like that. So all these kind of the conventions can be observed, like, whatever the data I'm having, and that particular data can be grouped, and on top of that you can perform the summation, maximum, minimum, average, count, all these kind of the things. So initially just let me group this based on the gender column. Okay, so just you can pick up this based on the gender, and you have to aggregate that. There is a specification, guys, here. Let me show you what exactly, because observe here on top of this group by, after that I can easily apply the aggregation also. Now, if you refer this functionality, friends, SQL functionality, actually this particular functionality is having all the uh, predefined functions. So what I'm doing here is aggregation of SQL function dot summation of your salary. So maybe total budget related to the salary. Every year company need to provide some kind of the budget now. And then, okay, just I'm closing this. Okay. So now whatever the aggregation I'm performing, some of these things, just you can get it. Clean salary not defined. Friends, can you able to help me where I have done the mistake? Group by up to that it has taken, but it is saying clean cell is not defined. But in DF4 we are having the clean cell. I missed out the quote. That's all. Now you see. Okay. Now in this particular case, our expectation is if I'm giving the show, Yes. For female, this amount of the salary. For male, this amount of the salary. Okay, so the salary budget for this particular gender based on the male and female. Maybe this is one of the clause I'm using, guys. There, it may not be make sense, but sometimes companies will be rewarded if more number of the females are there. Maybe some sort of the companies are there, guys, where women empowerment is taking place. In that particular case, they may compete even for allied projects. Okay, so because if you educate women, definitely the entire family in a way, entire nation will be benefited. Okay, so that is how you can see the orientation. Now we'll write one more functionality, guys, where I want to get the total salary out of that particular salary budget. Here we got, okay, female, how much budget allocated, and male, that is fine. But now this time, what I want to do is rather than gender based grouping, of course, I'm having the grouping with the gender, and but I want to get the total salary and as well as the average salary, minimum and maximum salary. How much we are paying as a maximum salary to the female candidates, and whether it is on par with the male salaries. Okay, like that kind of the convention, if I want to make use, is a bigger deal, guys. Actually, like we have to perform the group by on gender, and on top of that, just we are making use of the summation of the cleaned salary, and then we are performing the average of that salary, minimum and as well as the maximum. Like that, some 4 to 5 predefined functions we have to use. So just have a look on this, guys. Just how we are making use of this aggregation. We are naming this as a DF aggregation. The same DF4 I am taking, but before that, just let me this time print schema will use. Okay, the print schema ID, first name, last name, gender, all these things. Now DF4, just we are using as usual group by functionality on top of the gender. Okay, we are keeping that point gender as a group by option. Now, as usual, your aggregate, definitely I should use the SQL function because that is the one where all your functionality is available. Dot summation. Okay, so sum of which column, guys, we are placing clean sal, because on top of the salary only where our logic is revolving. Sum of, okay, this should be in quote. Earlier also we got some error, should be in quote. And then if I should not leave this as it is, guys, because if I'm leaving this, it creates one larger column with sum of clean sal like that. Rather, what you can do is alias, you can specify like this total sal. Okay, and then for the sake of the readability, always prefer writing the code like this, guys, rather than a single liner. Um, so after computing the total salary, my requirement is computing of the average salary. For that SQL function dot um, average salary, this thing actually clean sal, but I don't want to keep this thing as average. Rather, what I can do is alias of, just I can make use of this AVG sal. Okay, and once that is computed, similar. So let me take this help, guys, so that I can avoid typos also. One is for the minimum, another is for the maximum. Now here, first I need to change this AVG to minimum. Okay, and here I need to change this minimum to average to max. Okay, now correspondingly alias also, what I can do is this is the min sal and this is the max sal. Like that we are making use of the convention, guys. AVG sal maybe one format you can use, maybe whatever. Okay, it creates some kind of the impact on you guys, because if you follow some sort of the conventions, obviously it gives okay, whatever the approach you follow. Okay, that shows, that keeps you some distinct. Now let us run this. What happened? Three, yeah, three more fields, no problem. So just we have taken this kind of the convention. So we could able to observe group by option, gender. On top of that, total salary related to male, female, average salary, minimum salary, and as well as the maximum salary. Now, I'm also very curious how we are giving benefits, equal opportunities to all employees. So for female, yes, minimum salary is this one, guys, which is greater than minimum salary of the male. Nice. And for female only, we are offering maximum salary. Okay, for this. Uh, and similarly, average salary of all the females is greater, 55618 something. But for the male, it is 55361. And but the thing is, guys, maybe female members would have less in number, male maybe more. That is what a little high budget is there for the total salary of the male and female. It happens, no? But on average salary of the female is greater. Mid salary compared with the male is greater. Max also compared with the male is greater. Okay, in all the way, females are doing really well. And not our company, this data set, whatever the original .csv we are having, from that we can sense that yes, we can proudly present this data, so that we are giving best and uh, uh, okay, some reasonable salary compared with male, on par with male, and even more also. Okay, so this is how you can specify the functionality. Now one small question, guys, here. Maybe there are certain cities, maybe Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, like that. So maybe I want to segregate the appropriate gender along with the cities also. Females in Hyderabad, how much they are getting. Males in Hyderabad, how much they are getting. Because the analysis power is not stopped, guys. It is not, it is growing actually. So we started with some sort of the clean cell, and then we applied some sort of monthly salary, and then we started observing the group by option. There we grouped the gender based, and then we have computed total salary, minimum salary, average salary, maximum salary, like that. Now I want to add so this thing also, city information also, friends. Okay, so just you can you rewrite this particular query? Let me pick up this thing. Can you rewrite this query where I want to get the information of the this thing also? No problem, Jitin. Take care. Okay. So now I have pasted one problem for you guys, one solution for you. Now, how do you refer? How do you specify? City also I need to add females, female salary related to Hyderabad, female salary related to Mumbai. Like that I am having. I need to group that particular thing. Only one simple modification, guys. Okay, so as it is, just I am picking up this particular data. Though I am not following the syntax, it is not warned as friends. Okay, that is okay. So just we are taking this. Now I want to add one more option here. What is that column name? City. Okay, so based on the city, I want to see. Okay, now just run through. Altogether different results, definitely, because it's not only a single column. Na? DF aggregate show. Automatically you will be getting guys female on the corresponding city, this much total salary, this much average, this much minimum, this is the maximum in that city, and in this city female, male also. Okay, like that there is a kind of the big report, whereas simply we have added one more column guys. And this is the case where I am with the gender, because gender only two options are there, male and female, male or female, so that they can make use of convention. Like only two options are there. Obviously, we are getting the two records. But here you see, based on the number of cities, the gender is replicated. Within the city, female. Within the city, male. What is the salary and how the average, minimum and maximum kind of the convention. So likewise, it is going ahead and performing the activity related to the approach. So this is the way how we are making use of the convention of getting the logic. So obviously we are performing that activity. One more option I want to give to you guys. Okay, so that is there is one data actually. So let me load that particular data, then I will discuss about the topic. For this some kind of the case study by covering all these things. There is file store. I named that as a some one. Yes, yeah, this one challenge.csv. So let me copy that. So this path as usual slash okay, let me load the data. I'm creating a data frame and read dot. Of course, that is a CSV only, CSV file. I'm making this header as true because I don't want to miss out that header. Okay, some data I'm having. So df dot show, if I'm saying it is giving the IP address, country, domain name, bytes used, maybe some telecom domain friends. Here what we need to do is, because as a developer of data engineering or data science, maybe you need to work with, though you are not aware of the domain, but it's okay. Don't worry about that. But only the thing is we have to understand the problem statement. That is the first point. So we were given with IP address, country, domain name and bytes used. These four are the options or columns we are having. And on top of this particular thing, we have to uh, perform the calculations. The first thing is maybe I'm having some country name. Okay, so like guys, we want to understand some sort of usage, how our net is used and how people are using the corresponding data, something like that. We are trying to get as how we have seen the male or female kind of the convention. If the country is Mexico, then I have to return yes or no. Okay, so we have to create a column whether the country is Mexico or not, is Mexico or something like that, or else I may add some location and that particular location. If that location is Mexico, then I can make use of that yes or no kind of the convention. That is the first option. Let us implement the first thing. This is not a new thing for us guys. If Mexico or not, this is the requirement. Now for that, I'm having the columns information. I should get the columns information. I'm having only the IP address, country, domain name bytes, and I am going to work out some country information. As usual, guys, we are having that SQL function with us. This, however, we are using because this is giving all the maximum, minimum, all these kind of the conventions. However, we are using that SQL function. Uh, I need not import any other functionality. All my Pyspark.sql.functions are available. Directly, I'm using as a SQL function. Now we are creating one more data frame, guys, which is always good programming practice without disturbing. And your most handy kind of the construct is with column. What I'm doing here is Mexico. Um, as usual, the first command is just with respect to this thing, your country information. Okay, so just to pick this particular country, your df.country. Okay, df.country equal to go to the data, pick up this thing to avoid small capital, something like that. So just you place this thing, friends, Mexico. And if this is true, then you give the yes. Same logic, guys. Same thing how we have done. Uh, Other option is otherwise. Just you can directly give the no. Okay, maybe that is the requirement. Whether the country is Mexico or not, maybe we want to segregate or we want to highlight. Reason might be anything, guys, because in the development or in the coding, why that is not the question. How to achieve is the question. Okay, why we need Mexico? There, no one can give the answer for that. Only the thing is how to achieve that. Okay, so just you have a look on this. Okay, so now IP address, country, domain name, bytes used is Mexico is added actually. Now df one dot print schema, if you are giving also, you will be getting that thing. Already we have seen is Mexico. Now, as usual, df one dot show, if I am making use, just it is adding some column here, and only out of first 20 records, maybe 20 records we may get, and out of that only one column and one record is saying yes. That means this IP address is belonging to the Mexico, and their domain name is youtu.be. Okay, maybe YouTube, something like that. Accordingly, just and the bytes used is 877. Okay, so this is the way how you can specify the mention of how I can find out the whether that particular column is Mexico or whether that country is Mexico or not. Up to this we can do, guys. But there is other thing based on the location. Okay, maybe based on the location. And how do I specify how many bytes have been used? Okay, maybe I need to find out the location wise the usage of the bytes. Okay, summation of the bytes, something like that. Maybe one thing, guys, here, why I have given the simple example first is maybe simple or complex. Um, the logic is same. Maybe if I am saying gender or something, you may feel some easiness. If I'm saying salary also, you may feel some easiness. But altogether, if I'm giving a different case study, IP address, country, domain name, byte, something like that, suddenly you may feel, oh, what is this guy talking about? All these kind of the conventions. So what I mean to say here, guys, simply, um, just at the moment you are seeing that particular data set, don't worry, because that is what where your domain knowledge playing a vital role, and our understanding of the terminology related to the data set is also important. But logic wise, implementation wise, there is no harm or there is no hardness. Just what you need to do is we have to understand the data in a proper way. Now let me implement. So whatever the functionality we are having, first of all, just I want to get the columns information. In this, I'm having my IP address, country, domain name, bytes used, and is Mexico. All these things are there. And now just I am creating one more data frame. Just I am grouping by maybe I can group by some sort of the location. Okay, based on that particular location only, I want to aggregate the usage. Okay, so this time I am performing the venture of Easy Mexico. If that is there, df1 dot group by. Okay, so the people from the Mexico, how many bytes they have used other than Mexico, entire entire other countries, how they have used the corresponding thing. So what we are doing is just we are whatever the column we have created is a calculated column actually is Mexico. We are grouping on top of that guys because that is a categorical in nature, yes or no kind of thing. Na? We are applying some sort of the group by on top of and we are performing some aggregation. Already we are having the SQL functions. Na? We have imported that. Now I want to apply the summation actually. Okay, I want to apply the summation uh, from this particular data frame only. Okay, I want to get the bytes used. Okay, how many number of bytes used? That bytes used I want to get. So how many bytes were used by that particular country? Maybe Mexico, how much they have used all these kind of the conventions. So and this is a total aggregation. So just I want to give the alias name as usage. Okay, usage and you can close the thing. Like you see guys here, df1 dot group by the country is Mexico. Based on that particular column only, we are performing some activity. Aggregation, SQL function, summation, and this bytes used usage. So that means finally what we are going to get is as I'm not using when with column. So directly with respect to this kind of the is Mexico, just we are going to apply the group by. There are two options. One is Mexico, one is non-Mexico country. Now two records find out. And based on that particular two records, we are applying the summation. Mexico, what is the number of bytes? Non-Mexico, how many number of bytes? And the corresponding usage. Now you run through guys. Okay, now you observe here and df2 dot first we'll see the print schema so that you can see. Yes, we are having is Mexico and usage df2 and df2 dot show. It is pretty clear that directly we are getting the corresponding country information. Any doubts? Okay, right. So that is another example, guys, where you can get the bytes used because generally, friends, uh, in the implementation of this group by and all these kind of the conventions, you're having the support of the SQL functions where we have imported all these aggregations group by where these things make your life easier. From Mexico, the usage is 6293 bytes, whereas obviously other countries are more number of other countries are there. And sometimes there may be a possibility of finding out of the unique ID. Okay, unique ID from country. Okay, so each country, how many unique IDs are there? Like that, maybe the telecom company want to observe how many unique IDs from we are there surfing the data. So now we are in the data frame 3. So the same data frame 1 we are using. So just we are making use of the columns information df1 dot columns. Okay, so just we are trying to get the group by option on top of this thing. Now this time I am using the country data, entire whatever the number of countries I'm having, whichever the country I'm having, just I am applying the aggregation. Okay, and SQL function usage is common. I'm trying to give you a syntax, guys. Actually, now we are having some option called count, friends. Actually, there is a concept called count distinct. As I want to get the distinct records on top of Okay, so I want to get the unique IP address as I said. So just to pick up that thing, get it, unique IP address. And as it is, if I'm leaving it creates some bigger column name. Rather, what I can do is alias. Just I am giving the unique IPs. Okay, like that I am giving. So whatever the query we are taking, guys, just we need to be cautious that what is the major column and what is the requirement and which are all the columns participating on that. Whether you want to go with the same name or you want to give the alias name. Okay, so just you can run this. And now if you see the DF3, automatically it is giving the country and as well as the unique IPs. From that country, what exactly the unique IP, how many unique IPs. So I am also interested so as to verify the corresponding information df3.show. So country and as well as unique IP. Okay, CHAD only one, Russia 56, Pargav 1, MN 1, Sweden 28, Philippines 65, Malaysia 5. Like that, we are having the thing. Maybe in sometimes, especially this may be a DRDO or any such kind of the secured network. In that particular case, these kind of the implications are very much important, guys. Maybe this is little tricky to understand. What you can do is whatever the data frame you are getting, like this, you can arrange. You can sort out. There is one more option called column, guys. Actually, I'll talk about that in a while. Column. Just I can take the what is the IPs, no? IPs, yeah, column IPs, and we are arranging in the descending order. And then you can give a show. Just you give the show. What happened? Unresolved df3 dot sort. A column or function parameter cannot be resolved. Did you mean one of the following?
Unique
Unique
IP.
IP. Yeah, right. Good. Because IP is actually we have given alias friends actually. We have given this thing unique IP. That really gives that. Now you see. So China is having 172 IPs. Okay, Indonesia 140. Highest is China. Okay, so like that lowest also we can see whatever the functionality. So this is what how we can see this convention, guys. But now maybe I'll take little more break today because I'm having the CEO call. So once that is call is over, I'll be back maybe 12:20 or 12:25 around. I'll be back. But be in the call, guys. Um, you can use the corresponding thing. What I will do is just let me share this particular thing with you guys so that you can practice. That is one thing. And one more thing I want to give you is here. Maybe yeah, I can upload. Let me upload that thing, guys. Uh, okay, this thing you practice. How can you write? Just to see practice, Surendra. Okay, just to practice. I have given the my views. You also try to do something. Till it is not getting through, then I will help you. So that is one option where you can observe. And moreover, some other points which are nothing but the best practices within this 20 minutes. After taking the break, if I am not coming out, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I'll be back, guys. But meantime, just have a look on this. Okay, don't waste your time. Just have a look on this. These are all really needful resources. Okay, so these particular resources helps us the best practices in the Pyspark. Okay, and before going to have a break, just to recall the appropriate whatever the functionalities we have seen earlier, all these kind of the conventions, starting with the see, starting with the JSON and then Parquet, all these things we have discussed. And then we are going ahead with the Spark SQL. And then we studied with the column. And with column only, we have taken much. Okay. So with that, I'm stopping here, guys. Just around 12:25 or something, but be in the call. I'll be back and okay, I'll meet you. Okay, maybe I may be in hold. So once I complete the meeting, just I'll be back to you. Okay, thank you.